What is the dumbest reason someone got mad at you? I had a teacher get mad at me because I sneezed during a test. Same thing, but mine was a nosebleed and a sub-teacher threatened to invalidate my test. I have horrible seasonal allergies that causes bleeding like every day. A woman I had never met or seen in my life, at a public event, asked me where her kids were. I was confused and said, "I'm sorry, I don't know," and she yelled and asked where they put them. She stormed off angry at me. I never had a clue why she asked me. My husband and I went on a 5th year anniversary trip. 2 people were mad at us for not inviting them. His brother was one of them. Those same 2 people were mad because we went on our honeymoon and didn't invite them. Well, there is just something wrong with them. Me and my siblings used to get mad at each other for staring out of each other's windows on car rides. It sucked for the middle seater. And for your poor parents who had to listen to that the entire drive. In the early 80s my parents bought a home stereo. The face of it had a gaudy fluorescent orange paper sticker around the remote sensor that said, "Remote control ready." Its sole purpose was as a shelf talker for the store demo models and was meant to be removed by the end user. The thing was a few years old and the cheap uncoated paper had become soiled. So one day while I was listening to music I peeled it off. My mom got super peed off about this for some reason. If she's as tech savvy as my mom, she probably thought that could break it. That kid stole my phone. Met him once. At my house. At a party I threw. He loses his phone. In his eyes, that meant I stole his phone. Except when he told his friend that I stole his phone. He did it by texting him using the phone he claimed I stole. Holy crap. That took me for a ride when it first happened. A woman screamed at me because I wouldn't return a heavily used toaster she purchased 5 years ago at a store that doesn't even exist in Canada. I do not work at a place that sells toasters. At that point she is just trying to sell you a used toaster. I got death threats at work when I wouldn't accept a box of reptiles as payment for an electric guitar. The guy was later banned from the mall after trying to steal shoes from a mannequin. I had plans one particular night and my 2 closest friends asked if I was busy. I told them I had plans that night but could do something the next day. They proceeded to throw a fit because I refused to cancel my plans. I was already on the way there, and our argument resulted in us not talking for a weekend. This situation was recurring but I usually gave in. I realized how much better off I was without the burden of people who got jealous, offended, whatever they were easily, and have talked to them sparingly since. Real friendships don't come with ultimatums. My sister got mad at me for helping my niece, her daughter, and my niece's infant son move out of the house she was giving up to the bank. My sister wanted them to move into a trailer parked at her house, but my niece found a really good house sharing situation. My sister hasn't spoken to me since and told mutual relations friends that if they talked to me she would not speak to them either. She's a control freak. Sounds like she was setting your niece up for a "I now control you" situation and you bombed it. Good on you. I work at one of the world's busiest theme parks and today a guest screamed at me because I wouldn't let their toddler on a roller coaster that they would literally fall out of. Then, she continued to tug on my shirt and asked what I would give her for compensation. When I tried to give her a pass to enter another ride she got even angrier and demanded I give her one to a brand new ride that just opened and had a 7-hour queue. After I explained I couldn't, because those tickets don't even exist, she got in my face, screamed again, and demanded I give her tickets to our competitor's park. After explaining I couldn't, because our company doesn't own that park, she asked me what time I was finished work and told me she'd find me in the parking lot. All this because I wouldn't let her toddler go on a ride they would have slipped out of. Mom, if I let your toddler on it will die. Perfect. XGF and I were both sick. I was napping while she was studying. This was back in college. I wake up and she is giving me the silent treatment. Her method of being upset with me. Apparently I somehow offended her while I was asleep. Ridiculous. I later found out that she had came over to me while I slept and blew her nose or coughed and I did not wake up or show concern. Seriously. Dodge a bullet there, mate. Someone got mad at me because I didn't get mad when I lost a game. This total stranger at the bus stop. He sneezed and I said bless you. He replied angrily that wasn't a sneeze, it was a cough. I said sorry, I thought it was a sneeze, and he yelled well it wasn't. He was angry out of all proportion. Watching Final Destination 3 with my ex, me hugging her head on my chest, and the scene with the girls dying in the tanning beds comes on. They are naked, and my ex lifted her head up and punched me, and then moved away from me. I asked what was that for, and apparently my heart had sped up at the naked girls on screen. I didn't have the heart to apologize for my autonomic functions. My ex used to feel my crotch every time there was nudity on TV to make sure I didn't respond downstairs. Teacher threw me out of class in high school when I answered a question correctly after she thought I was sleeping in class. Still bothers me to this day. Frick you, Mrs. Forrester. My Latin teacher once went on a rant in front of the class about me doing well in tests despite blatantly not putting any effort in. I didn't actually get to witness the rant in person because I was skiving off that day. I heard about it from friends. I didn't put a at the end of a goodnight text. I once started texting my ex-partner one morning without saying good morning first. Apparently that made me a cold bee. Co-worker was angry with me because I called in sick from work. She wouldn't talk to me for 2 days, so I finally asked what her problem was. She said well I was feeling really sick and was going to call off too but didn't, and I never take a day off sick so it's kind of unfair that you did. What? Thanks for getting me sick, too. Glad I could join you. My wife occasionally wakes up mad at me based on something I did to pee her off in her dreams. My son got mad at me when I put apple chunks in his oatmeal after he asked for apple chunks in his oatmeal. Best case of toddler rage I've ever heard of. The kid started wailing because he didn't want a banana that wasn't being offered. My mom got mad at me because I couldn't find the thing on that thing. That's what she said exactly. We were out of chicken wings at my work. I'm the bartender. This happens quite often, actually. Flabbergasts me every time. Come on, we all know it's the waiter's fault every time a restaurant runs out of food. Just admit it. My sister got mad at me for pointing out she stole from an orphanage. Apparently I made the fact that she stole from an orphanage sound bad. My ex got furious with me for taking butter out of the box incorrectly. Even her mother made fun of her after that. One time my grandpa legitimately threw a fit because I slept until 8 AM on a Saturday. Nothing is coming to mind right now, but I once witnessed my mother instruct my dad to broil the crap out of her hamburger, got angry when it was too rare, it was a grey, leathery mess, and told him to cook it longer. He took it out a little while later and it was black. She just stared at this inedible hockey puck on her plate for a few long seconds, seething with freaking rage. Picked it up, winged it at his head and screamed, "You burned IT. You burned IT and you did IT on purpose." Yeah, lady, no crap, he did it on purpose. He did as he was told. Hope he got the heck out of that relationship. I folded the towels wrong. My mom has a very specific way she likes the towels folded, and when I was a teen, if all the towels in the closet weren't properly folded, she'd pull them all out and I had to fold every single one correctly. I could probably write a book just listing the dumb things she used to get mad about, but this is the one I always mention to people because it is just such a ridiculous thing. Mine got mad at me for wearing black. So while I was at school she burned all but like 2 pieces of black clothing. She also got mad at me for my hair in my eyes, so she cut it off so short that the only way to fix it was to cut it down to like an inch long. I was a 14-year-old girl. That went over well in school. I moved a book that was on my best friend's desk in 6th grade. Just nudged it a little. She didn't talk to me for 6 whole months. Years and years ago I was standing in line with a friend, getting some awful fast food. For context, I am Caucasian and my friend is of Chinese descent. We live in Canada. End of context. So we were waiting in line when a very animated lady of some kind of Asian descent starts talking to my friend in whatever language he spoke from her country of origin. While my friend understands the Chinese dialect that her family speaks, she doesn't understand this woman and tells her so. You would have thought that we had just stabbed her. The lady starts screaming in English that my friend was a disgrace to her people and that I was the devil girl influencing her away from her people. It was bad enough that the manager asked her to leave. I have never understood that one. She was in a burger joint in Canada but expected that anyone who maybe looked like her a tiny bit to converse with her in her native language. My ex got mad at me that I didn't get her a birthday card while we were in the car on the way to Nashville for the weekend for her birthday. Needless to say, that relationship didn't last much longer. My ex got mad that I didn't get her a birthday card on the flight to Vegas for 5 days, all of which I paid for. The relationship didn't last much longer after that either. For adding a haha at the end of a text to her. Needless to say, that friendship was over in a heartbeat. One of my co-workers got peed off at me for wearing skinny jeans to a company picnic. He had married a woman half his age and had her convinced that his beer gut was a natural response to aging and slowing metabolism. Well, I'm even older than him, so the wife saw through the lie, put him on a diet, and now I get the blame. I was walking in a completely empty area in school, except for one other person. She was walking right toward me, not looking where she was going. I tried to move out of the way, but she still ended up bumping me with the hand she was carrying her water bottle in. It fell on the floor and then she glared at me for what was clearly her fault. You were supposed to walk into her head on, not knock the bottle out of her hand. Obviously your fault. One of my bridesmaids is mad at me because she is going to my wedding instead of the weekend concert. So there's that lol. Kick her out of the wedding. Problem solved. Jumping over a puddle in 1st grade. I even got lunch detention. Apparently it's a safety hazard. Who would have thought? A teacher sent me out of class for arguing with her when she said Anne Frank survived the Holocaust. Her reasoning was, how could we have her diary if she died? A girl that I'm friends with on Facebook always posts romantic, cheesy memes, and her husband always replies with like, oh baby, I love you more than words can say, ect. One day she posted some cheesy pic of a couple hugging with the words, a real man knows there is no wrong time to squeeze his girl. So I commented, unless she has broken ribs, that'd be the wrong time. They both legitimately got so mad at me and tried to insult me by saying, well, you obviously aren't very romantic. You sound like someone I'd want to be friends with. My boyfriend asked me to make him mac and cheese while he was home on his break. Made him mac and cheese. Walked in taking a bite while giving it to him. He freaked out and said now he didn't have time to eat it since I was eating it, and left and didn't talk to me for the rest of the day. It went to waste because he was mad because I took a bite of his mac and cheese while he was starving and had limited time to eat. Anger is real. My little brother cried when I tried changing his diaper, so my older brother threatened to fight me. I had an ex-girlfriend get mad at me for paying for the bill once at a restaurant. She said she can pay for her own stuff. She was about $3k in credit card debt, had recently received a speeding ticket, and had just received a cut in pay. In my mind I thought I was taking care of her. I didn't know I was rubbing her the wrong way for some reason. She yelled at me in public, threw her keys at me and told me to drive myself home. Except we came in her car, so I drove her to her house then walked home. Then she got mad that I walked home, lol. Needless to say I dodged a bullet bill and a blow shell on that one. Driving around with my BFF and I realize she is fuming. I have no idea why she is peed at me. I get peed at her for being peed. We get to her house and we are slamming doors and sighing exaggeratedly. Finally she yells, why are you peed at me? Because you are peed at me. Yeah, we both thought the other person was mad for no reason when really, we both were. That sums up me and my best friend from the ages of 13-17 lol. I was on my class's camping trip in college and the last day we drove through town and the driver decided to treat us and buy us cupcakes. I decided to pick the chocolate coffee cupcake. Some random girl I met on the trip decides to berate me on my life choices and how caffeine is against the school and the church rules, religious college, and threatens to report me to the school to have me expelled unless I picked a different flavor. It was the best tasting chocolate coffee cupcake I ever had. My wife, while pregnant, once threw me out of the house and didn't let me back in until the next morning because she thought I was using too much water while washing the dishes. My dog died and I was sad about it. She was mad that I was being clingy, so she broke up with me. because I didn't come during intercourse. Still baffles me how he managed to turn that around into a huge argument which ended in silent treatment for the night. A very good friend of mine got peed at me because I'm thin. So, there you go. You have been visited by the safety doggo. Subscribe and you will be safe from all danger for the next 24 hours. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.